Всем привет, меня зовут Руслан.
Hello, my name is Ruslan.
Аналитики компании AirVision.
I work for Vision. I'm an analyst. And today I'll talk about the favorite LOLBins of the attackers and how you can detect them.
Начнем с самого начала. Вообще, что такое LOLBins?
Okay, what are these LOLBins? So, living off the land binaries. So we try to survive in the OS using the binaries we already have. And this is to support the life of the attacker. There are three causes for this to be a problem. They're interconnected. The first one, these binaries are already there in the system, so the attacker doesn't need to download anything. These binaries are not just there, they're necessary to make the system work properly. If you switch them off, the whole system will collapse. And the final reason is that, well, since we need them for normal work, then antiviruses or EDRs don't tag them as malware, so it's difficult to catch them.
Были выбраны следующие 5 утилит.
We picked the following 5 utilities. We looked at the statistics, how often they're mentioned by reports. We considered both Russian and international reports, and would like to say that we don't have the PowerShell and CMD in the statistics because they were number 1. They were the most popular tools. Okay, we'll look at the utility, how it can be detected, and then we'll conclude. Okay, the first utility, run DLL32. This is used for dealing with the library functions from Windows. They help you set up the task manager or some components, and various apps deal with the Windows API through run DLL32, and that's what the attackers use. They might dump the SAS process, ISS process using the dump function. So we make the process, so we detect the use of the run DLL32. Then in the command line we should find the file with the DLL and then the mini dump function. But all the kind of things will be detected through the processes. The next one is the certutil. It is there to deal with open keys or certificates. It can be used for files coding and decoding or for downloading them. And these two latest functions are used by the attackers. They might code the txt file you have there, and they can add some payload, so they will not have to download anything. Or if they need to download something, they can use this utility. So certutil, they can use real cache or split arguments for this. Okay, so for detection, the call of certutil with the argument encode, and we should also keep track of various file extensions which might look suspicious. The second thing, we kind of download the files, but here we look at the certutil process, and here we use the arguments like real cache or split. The next utility, ntd-sutil, which helps us deal with the Active Directory. So one of the functions is to copy the Active Directory and the AD. So, and that's what they use. They use the utility, and then they use the factor they are interested in. So that's what we do. So we detect the use of this, then the file as did, and you can narrow down the filter, and you may detect file creation, so move copy and create processes. This can also run in PowerShell. So we should look at 41 4003 and 4104 events. The next one is with script. This is to interact with DV or VBS scripts. It is also used by attackers. They run various scripts which are there in the suspicious directorates like temp or public, and that's what we should pay attention to.
Процесс создания,
So when they
событие создания процесса, далее
create a process, then the utility W script. So there we find the temp or public path and the extension of the file dealing with the W script. This can be also supported by the C script, which is also the W script, but it's the command version of it.
И последняя утилита на сегодня.
And the final utility for now is the msbuild. This utility is there for building .NET projects. It can be used by the system and the developers. That's why we'll defect it quite straightforwardly. We'll keep track of the calls of the msbuild and some files with the .xml extension, for instance. But if we build a detect like that, we'll have too many false positives. That's why we suggest using some rules here. You don't detect these events if detectors do this, if developers do this, if this kind of activity is kind of their routine activity. And some conclusions. We have considered 5 LOLBins the attackers use. What is the major problem with them? They are there in the system, and they are not malware by nature, but they still have some functions which can be used to attack the system. Our conclusions. Number 1, to detect is not enough. You need the context. Like, you should keep track of suspicious paths or arguments in the command line accompanying these utilities. Then, this context will still generate some false positives. So we should set profiling for your company to see for whom this utility is okay to be used and for whom it is not. And so CM is not enough. You need a set of tools like EDR, antivirus, and UEBA. So the EDR will show you the chain of events, and the UEBA will let you analyze the user behavior to see whether this is malicious or not malicious activity. That's it. Thank you for your attention.